Hello, everyone, and welcome. Sanjin here with Stuffy. We're going to go through a series of general skills PicoCTF challenges. But before we do, let's have a think about these walkthrough guidelines, because you are about to see solutions to challenges that are ideally solved by yourself. And the first thing that I think you should try is to attempt every challenge yourself first. Never go straight to the solution. Completely defeats the purpose of why they're set up. The second thing is this idea, if you're stuck in researching and going into dead ends, it is not a waste of time to be stuck. Somehow, and I think we've just had a chat before, we both agree on it, and I've seen it as a teacher in so many students, if you're stuck on a problem for a while, and then you look at the solution, maybe an hour, 2 hours, that solution is just going to stick in your brain so much better because you've been thinking about that problem for so long. So like being stuck on something and doing research is not a waste of your time. It's actually a good time investment. And finally, even if you've solved it, by all means, you should be checking out other people's walkthroughs, because what? 9 out of 10 times, they would have done something different from you. And that's extra insight on the problem. Okay, so let's jump into the walkthroughs. All right, everyone, so let's get into it. First challenge we're doing is called fixme.py. And there is an error in this Python script, and there's a lot of instructions. Indentation's very meaningful. I mean, they practically give it away. So let's begin by finding a folder for this. So I think we had like general skills was GS. So I'm going to go into GS, and we have some little folder names. I'm going to call this one Pi. So I'm going to make a directory for Python programs and go there. And then we're going to wget this Python file. And so we're in this folder. We have fixme1.py. Now, the only text editor that I know how to use properly is this one. Stuffy you use Vim or Vi, or?
Yeah, VI and Vim are the same thing. Yeah, but Vim's what they use nowadays. I use Vim. It just depends. I mean, if I'm on my own personal box, I'll use a text editor that's got a GUI. If I'm on a remote server like we're connecting to here, then I definitely will use Vim. Nano, I know how to use Nano as well. So you kind of have to be fluent in a couple of them to get around in Linux sometimes.
So the only thing that, I mean, I would tell people here, I'll exit out of this because I have a feeling that if I try to run this with Python 3, it might come up with an error message, Python 3, what was it called? Fixme.
Fixme, yep.
Right. And it actually says line 20, right? So the only reason why I would sort of recommend that you use some Python IDE, maybe Replit online, is that when you actually run the code, it'll give you useful error messages with exact lines. So like if we go back into the nano of the file.
And I can tell you just personal experience on any CTFs I've done and stuff, like try hack me boxes, hack the box, all that stuff. If it's a box that is a VM that I'm not worried about destroying, I will 100% run that Python or whatever it is. If it's an executable, I'll always run it first just to see what it's doing. There's a lot of times I'll read it first. It just depends on what it's trying to do, but running it usually, like you said, will give you that error script.
And again, this is the only thing that I'd like to tell people is just, this is a harder way to do Python, but we're doing it all in the terminal here because I guess for beginners, this is about as easy as it gets. Like you have a little web shell. I mean, PicoCTF just gives it to you, and off we go. So the second one, fixme2.py, I mean, it's the same idea here. There's a syntax error. Let's wget it. It's there. And let's do the same thing we did, like Python 3, and we'll just run fixme2. And this time, actually, it's the equal sign. Yeah. When I went to uni, I was making this error probably 3 months into my first course. Because, you know, I started programming, you know, in the age of 18, 19, and I did prior to that, whatever, too many years of math. And yeah, equals was equals. Now in programming, equals is assignment, double equals is the real equals, or almost the real equals. Because the double equals actually checks if the condition is true. So fixme.py. So there it is. I mean, to anyone's eyes, it seems pretty legit if flag equals that. But again, when I actually started doing Python, it would accept this and just run like basically it would be like as if you said it's true, because it would just run the statement. And now it's an error. So that's actually, I reckon, an improvement in Python.
Yeah.
Save modified buffer. Okay. So Python 3 fixme.py equality, not assignment. Okay. So far we're 2 programs into it. This has really been pretty cruisy. Basic Python.
Yeah, those 2 were pretty nice.
I guess if I just go into this for a second, and then I'll fix it, because they had the same thing. Fixme.py. Since this is a big part of you know, it's seemingly all of a number of these challenges, this XORing strings, can you just roughly summarize what XORing does?
Yeah, so basically all XORing does, so there's binaries, obviously ones and zeros, right? So XOR is basically, it's looking for a 1 in one of the numbers. So it's going to take one of these keys, the secret key, and it's going to take the message, which is probably our flag here. And what it's going to do is it's going to compare them in binary. So when it compares them in binary, they're going to line up, let's just say 1 on top, 0 on bottom, right? Ones and zeros all the way down. If it has a 1 in one of the columns and not in the other, meaning it has a 1 and then a 0 below it, it then turns that into a 1. If it has anything besides that, whether it's 2 1s, 2 zeros, whatever, it's going to be a 0. And when it does this, it can then be reversed by taking, let's say it XOR'd the actual flag versus our secret key. Then to reverse it, we would take our flag, which we XOR'd first, and we could compare it and XOR it back. Now, the reason it's important that cryptography does this is because it's reversible. That's why we don't do and ors and we do XOR, because it's always reversible, because it's one or the other. It's not like and could be 2 1s or it could be 1 1. You don't know. So if you don't XOR is the only one that's actually reversible always. So that's why cryptography uses it, because every cryptographic algorithm is technically crackable. Every one of them is just a mathematical algorithm that eventually, given enough time and computing power, you will figure it out. So yeah, so it gets very complex when they're XORing and doing all kinds of stuff with different cryptography algorithms, but that's the basic concept, is it's just breaking it down into binary and making sure that if it's a 1 in one category and a 0 in the other, it adds a 1, otherwise they're zeros, and it does that through the whole message.
So it's a message is, to summarize really simply, a message is a sequence of 1s and 0s. And this thing is a scrambling system that basically scrambles exclusive OR. 0 1 is a 1, 1 0 is a 1, everything else is a 0. And so the message gets scrambled initially by the simple rule set, and it's reversible. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to basically take this to Replit and run some, like, attach a Python link that demos it. That'll be available in the show notes. It's an interesting little experiment, given that I've seen it in like 6, 7 challenges. We're not going to unpack all of the Python code, but like now that I'm looking at this for the 5th time, let's move on, because the next one is called glitchcat. Control X, get me out of here, clear glitchcat. No, what? I misspelled glitch. Glit,
There it is.
glitch cats. So let me split that back to half a screen. Okay, so we're gonna go to this netcat, and maybe I'll create a new folder. No, I don't need to, because netcat, basically we're gonna be somewhere else, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so interesting.
Yes. So I'm assuming the way you did this is different than the way I did this, just based on experience.
You betcha. I think, like, I don't know. I'm just gonna copy this,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna exit, and then I'm just gonna go touch gc.py. I'll create that, and I'll nano that. Oops, that was silly. Sorry. So nano gc.py, and then I'll just put it in a print statement, I reckon. Oopsies. So if I close the print statement, I might need, maybe I'll get rid of these, because Python will confuse them. That in Python, the curly braces stand for, well, depending on how you format the data, but it's either sets or dictionaries. Okay, so if I'm printing, why don't I just print the characters? I can get rid of all that.
Yeah, we can add it on there.
I am so bad without the mouse. I have to get used to it, right? Stuffy. There's absolutely no way that once I'm working on like external servers that I could use like a GUI editor or something like that.
Not I mean, not without like remote desktop or something like that, or
Right.
some sort of client. You're not going to. And some, in most, not most, but a lot of servers, especially if they're lightweight servers or something, they don't have a GUI. They're just simply terminal only.
Okay.
Especially like if they're ESXi hosts and stuff like that, if they're starting to cluster servers together and things like that.
Okay. That is so what did it said glitch something plus that. So that was my PicoCTF bracket. Or do they do the curly braces? I think they do curly braces. And then
they
I'll
do.
take the first pot, and then that's the second pot, and that should be the flag. Now, how did you do it?
So first off, if for people that don't know what he just did, all he did with Python print is it's going to take those characters and decode them for you. But I manually decode them. The only reason I did that is because I knew you use Python to decode them. So I knew I want to use an alternative way first off. Also with this few of characters, it was super easy for me to copy and paste that into a decoder online. If it was 10 pages, I wouldn't have done that because I would have had more issues. But I simply just went online, looked for a hex to, yep, right. What we used in our last video actually. But I just went to it and I just put them in there and then copied and pasted the exact same way you did.
Well, this
and then
you'll have to. I think I just have to get rid of the CH.
See, and I just went to, so the way I did it, I just copied and pasted this into Notepad+, and then I just find and replaced all the brackets and everything with nothing.
Right.
And then it took me 10 seconds or so. But like I said, if this was a bunch of characters, I would have done it differently. I would have done it the way you did.
What am I doing wrong here then? Oh, I don't think I need to do 0x. I could just go 39, 38, 39.
Let's see.
89. Yeah.
Yep.
So you could have literally just ignored the 0x. The 0x stands for hexadecimal. So you could have just gone 38, 39, 38, 61, and so on, and pasted them here. These are hex numbers that are going to convert into characters. Finally,
and one thing I'm a big proponent of, I used to teach classes years ago, and one thing I used to always tell them is if you don't know how to do it manually, do not automate it, because that means you don't know what you're doing. So you need to go back and understand what you're doing manually. So that's another reason I do it manually, is because I'm, again, not as fluent in Python as you are. So I want to see it happen and understand what's going on as well.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that there is some asymmetry on my side of this equation. So hashing job app, that's going to be our next one. Hashing job app. Finally, if you want to hash with the best, wow. Oh no, I think I know what this one is. I'm a little scared because I'm not the fastest. Like even my handle is slow Turing, like admitting I'm slow, but having some aspiration. So let's try this out. MD5 hash of Jody Foster. Okay. MD5 hash generator. And let's see how fast I am. There's one of them that's going to tell me that I'm too slow. I already know this. All right.
That's all right.
5 hash copy. Ooh, but actually we might make it on time. Correct.
There you go.
MD5 hash a full moon. All right. Oh, Control C.
You hit Control C.
This is Backstreet Boys. All right. So for everybody, you don't need to actually Control C. You do need to Control V into here, and then Shift Control V here, and then my 16th birthday. Just let go.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, if you Control C in a Linux terminal, it terminates whatever you're doing.
That is really mean. Whoever selected that is, I really think he wanted to.
Yeah. Just wait till you get to where you're in a shell and you're trying to Control C a program that's in that shell and you're actually just ended your shell. That happens a decent amount of time.
I really I think there's an interesting story with somebody really, being cheeky over the top for why Control C is exiting applications from the terminal.
So I can show you a way to do that from the terminal line as well. So if you guys have ever seen hacking movies and stuff, you see the 50 screens going all over the place. It's all over the top. But in reality, I usually do have probably 5 or 6 different shells open at once. And that's if I have a reverse listener, if I have stuff like this, tools I need to use. So MD5 sum is a tool that's on Linux that comes default on Linux that you can use to check the shell. But obviously, since we were connecting with Netcat, we would have had to get a different shell open at the same time to do it because we can't type commands here. So that's why I don't recommend it for this specific task unless you want to do it twice or have your own box up. But let's just say we want to do the sunrise there. So we can go ahead and get back to our shell. So you just want to do echo to, I don't know what we can do any word and then tack the little dash. Nope. Get rid of the high, sorry.
Oh, I thought it said any word. So I'm like, I'm going.
Oh yeah, the word's not there yet. So the dash.
Yep.
And then we'll put in. And this just tells it not to do just in, not in. It just tells it not to put it on a new line.
And okay, dash in.
And then whatever text you want to actually hash. And then we're going to put a pipe. We're back at the pipes. And then MD5 sum. So it's going to take that echo and it's going to push it into the MD5 sum command.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
And there you go.
Nice. So.
And if you're trying to do a file, so this is pretty common. A lot of times you're trying to hash a file. That's usually what the majority of hashes are used for, is files and passwords and things. You could just type MD5 sum and then the file name and it'll hash it for you and it'll tell you the hash. So that'll tell you integrity of files. That's a big thing.
Wow. Okay. So if I went MD5 sum for flag.
Yep. So now watch, if you open flag, if you just nano it, this is a fun little exercise if you guys aren't familiar with it, and just put a period at the end or change anything on it.
All
just
right.
a space, anything.
This is the beauty of hashes, hey?
And then save it. And then do that exact same MD5. And you'll notice it's completely different.
Yeah.
So that'll tell you if anyone's messed with your file.
Wow. That's a very that is a very smart tamper-proof system, right? Because
Yes.
even if they can somehow mess with the logs that say
Even
last modified can be well in the past or something.
And the video I uploaded today actually it shows even if you change the metadata, even if you change who authored it or anything on this file, it will change that completely. So like you said, even if you change anything.
Because it's not MD5 hash is not going on the actual character content of the file. It's going on the full binary that actually has headers of when you created, everything. Who created.
Exactly.
So if anybody accessed it, even just to look at it, some of that metadata by the file would have changed.
Theoretically, yes. Yeah. It depends on how the file's permissions and things, but yeah, theoretically.
Wow, that's
because it'll change the date accessed and everything like that.
Right. That's actually, I never thought of that as a method, and it's ingenious. It's ingenious. Okay. No. We actually meant to be in GS. So what is our next challenge? GlitchCat done. HashingjobApp done. Password crack 1. Oh my God, there's like a lot of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 of them.
Yep.
The first 2 are pretty easy.
Okay.
I think it was the first 2 or 3.
All right. So I'm just gonna have to create some directories. If I do PW, already exists. PW.
Oh yeah, you do have a
PWC.
PW there.
Okay, MK there, password crack. Okay, so download the password checker here, and you'll need the encrypted flag. All right, so we'll wget everything, and wget the flag. And let's see what's in here. We'll go clear. Sorry, ls. And we've got, so there's a program, there's a Python program. Let's just run it. Python 3 level1.py. Aha, enter the correct password. And now there is some kind of an encrypted password. Cool. I obviously don't know the password. What if I check the encryption? Level 1 dot flag. Right. So obviously that doesn't help me. So I really need to analyze the Python level 1 thing. .py. And again, XOR. I am going to make that REPL that allows you to test this stuff. Okay, so this is, they just give it away. I mean, it is literally, the password is written here for you, 17AC.
I will say, I personally have never seen a login script created that has the password in it, but I can see how it happens. And the reason I say that is because an admin could be in the middle of creating this and then get busy and forget about something and forget to remove that. But I don't see it ever happening nowadays. But I will say I've done some red teaming exercises where we did ransomware, and they purposely left the password for the ransomware in the files. But I mean, the files are everywhere, so there's thousands and thousands of them. So you would have had to look really hard. But they did that on purpose to see if the blue team could figure it out.
Wow. Wow.
But I wouldn't say nowadays you're going to run into this scenario that often.
It's interesting because, like I've told you earlier, I'm helping a student with his master's of cybersecurity in the Python subject, and they're creating like a canteen data management system, and they're going to start with the login. So like I'll get to teach the guy hashes first thing. So this is useful.
And that's kind of the only time I would expect to find something like this is someone that's learning, that's creating a script like that. Because any reputable company's not going to put that script in front of any login.
Okay, so what have we done? We've done 2 already. No, we've done 1.
That was one.
That
But I
was
think
1.
the second one's the same, or it's slightly different. I see.
All right, wget. I think we're gonna have a lot of files named in very similar ways in this folder, but we'll.
At least they're named level 2.
I might have to start listing them like that. Okay. Level. Wait, I think I copied that. We don't have the level 2 flag.
You didn't put wget in front of the last copy.
Wget. Okay. Clear. Okay. So we have level 2 flag, all of that. And I believe that if we just go into the Python file level 2.py. Oh, okay. So now they've done this.
Yep.
You know what? Let's just Python hack this. I know exactly how you would have done it.
Yep.
Pasted that into whether it's CyberChef or, but here's what I do. Print. And I hope I successfully copied it. Oh yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
And Control X. Yes. And now we can Python 3 level 2.py, and the program gives you what? No.
It asks for the password first.
Oh, I got to go back into the nano.
There's your password right there. You just put it after.
Oh, okay.
It printed it after. Yeah.
Python. That's fine. Python 3.
Yeah, as long as you get it.
.py. All right.
Oh, that time it just ended for you.
Okay, 5909. All right. For the next one, because there's going to be a whole bunch more.
There you
go. For the next one, I'm going to make sure I print this thing first. So I will analyze the Python program a little bit for you guys and show you where the best place is to print it. So you don't have to basically fail the program once in order to get it to give you the password.
And I'll show you a bash script that can do the same thing, but
if
it's
you wanna,
more directed. Go ahead.
How do you want to do this? Do you want to share screens or?
Yeah, I'll share it it's on password crack 4 because that's the only one that has a brute force realistically. That's the only one that the password crack 3 gives you like 7 passwords. So that was kind of you could just brute force it by hand, but.
Okay, I'll do the password crack. I'll do the password crack 3 then, and then we'll go into that. Okay, so this time there's 3 things. Copy link address, wget. That was the first thing. Oh, clar. I have this like silicon keyboard, and I'm actually I'm not so good at typing. Because I did an online course for a publishing company once, and they were really, really finicky about how loud I type into keyboards. And then I got this. But now that I'm into like cybersecurity, I think like the sound of a good mechanical keyboard actually is music to some people's ears. So I might.
It's definitely nice.
I might. I think I'll get a keyboard sometime in the near future. Wget that. Okay, clear ls. All right, so we have 3 files for the flag 3. Let's cat. I mean the .hash.bin. I mean, is it going to be? Let's find out. Level 3 .hat. Is it going to be catable or not? Oh yeah. What did I just see there, Stuffy?
It looks like the contents of the file itself, but
6JK flag text encoded.
But I'd have to look at the script itself to see what it's pulling that for, why it needs that third file.
I think we definitely need to look at the, sorry, nano level 3. All right. So there is encoded flag. It opens the file and reads it.
Yeah, the encoder, then
There's a correct password hash. So the extra file is the correct hash.
Yep.
Got it. And
But
so
it needs the, yeah.
This function hashes the actual password. It's going to be used, I'm sure, on the entry. Yeah, there you go. So you're going to enter a password, it's going to hash it, and then it's going to compare it to the saved password hash.
Yep. And if you're not familiar, this is actually how logging into a computer works nowadays. It actually, that's why brute forcing takes long, or not brute forcing, but dictionary tags take a long time, and rainbow tables take less time, because rainbow tables are pre-hashed passwords versus the computer having to do the work for you.
So here is the list of the, here is the list. And I think what we can do is before it runs this password check, we can just do a for loop that goes through this list and runs that if statement. By the way, whoever wrote this put the brackets on the if, so that's not a native Python user. So that's interesting. Okay, so let's just go for password in. So we paste the list. So you cycle through all of them. And also you press tab and you get this mega indent, which is weird. But if now the hash PW of this password candidate, if that is double equals to the correct password hash, if I press tab, no autocomplete. All right, so if those two are the same, then you can just print PW, right? And this should run before, see, it runs before the password check.
Before the, yep.
So when we execute the file, it's going to tell us the password before it runs, assuming that I just coded that right. So Python 3, and that was level
3.
3.py. Python 3.
Python.
F64.
There it is.
And now you guys are going to see a bash script soon that does exactly the same thing, right? That sort of
it does. Yeah, it does a very similar thing. Yep. But I'm not going to. You'll see the script, but it's slightly different. Same concept, same exact concept.
So that's going to be for, wait, we just did 4.
That was 3. That was 3.
That was 3.
4. Yeah.
Okay. So there, I guess this one's going to have 100 potential passwords, which is this time, instead of pasting the whole list, you can just, I'm sure it's going to be saved as a file. So like, let's download everything and take a look. So I think that was the Py file, copy link address, wget the next file. Okay, ls. So now there's 4 things. Great. Now, we simply need to go nano into level 4.py. And hopefully this will give us enough information. So it still has a correct password hash. One of those things is a password. You're asking correct password for a flag. Oh, there is a password list, and I guess this goes on for a while. Okay. that should be easy enough. I guess this time though,
Basically the same thing.
can I highlight? How do I copy and paste below? If it copied,
You
can-
copied it, yeah.
Jeez. I'm insecure about copy and paste. I'll get used to this terminal thing, guys.
I just right click, copy and paste on Linux only because different Linux distros use different things. So I just right click everything. It's
So I have successfully gotten the execution of the password check there. And I can basically do the exact same, like the exact same statement. So like for PW in possible PW list, it doesn't matter how many you got. Again, I press tab because tab is normally the Python indent. Nano makes this tab so huge that like makes Python code look weird, but alternatively, I could do it with 2 spaces, like that should work too. If hash PW hash PW of PW double equals to the hash password. So correct password hash. So if they're the same, if the hashes are the same, this time I'll do 4 spaces, 1, 2, then you can print PW. All right, so this should work. Control X, save. And now we can Python 3 level 4.py 607a.
perfect.
Dun, 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 dun.
Awesome.
Honestly, I would give PicoCTF like a B- for the series of challenges.
Yeah.
You really could have just done it in 2 steps.
Mhm.
A list of 5 followed by a list of 500. And
It's
then
the same thing.
would have served
Yep.
the same purpose.
All right. You want me to show you the bash script that does the same thing now?
Absolutely, go for it.
All right. So let me make sure you can see here. All right. Do you see my screen here?
I do.
Okay. So what is that called? That was PW crack 4. All right. So basically here's the script I created. You can see if I'll go ahead and clear this since if I ls, we've got level 4 and then we have script.test. So I'll just go ahead. I'll just show you guys. So I just here declared up top, same thing as anything else, a variable called PWS, and that is just basically your list, right? And it's
Cool.
simple. All it is for I and PWS. So just echo them and then pipe them into that script that's asking for the password. So
Right.
with this one, you won't actually see any of the passwords. You'll just get the flag. So that's just the difference. So you may think it doesn't make sense, but basically it's just a for loop that's going to run through and put each one of these into the password.
Question, Stuffy. So if you pipe them all as inputs, right?
Mhm.
Assuming like this is how many, is this 100 potential?
Mhm.
Assuming, I don't know, does it say wrong password? Are you going to get like 100 wrong password
Yeah,
messages?
you'll get wrong password, but I'll show you. So there's ways to manipulate that type of stuff if that's a problem.
Okay,
so,
run it. Let's see it in
so
action.
we'll go ahead. So with Vim, you've got a QA. All right, so then we'll just do the script. And you can see, and then it'll pop up and say there's the correct one, right?
Yep.
So the other thing that you can do, I don't think it'll work on this, but typically what you do to get rid of errors on Linux is you'll type 2, which is the error code. It depends on if they code it correctly, right? And then you're gonna say put those in dev null. And this is, I'll go ahead actually and clear this out so they can see it. So we'll say run that same script, but we'll say 2 for the error codes, put them in dev null, which is just get rid of them. So it won't display them. This obviously they weren't coded as error codes in the script itself.
if you're familiar with Bash, you could have written something like, if Pico enants, then print it, then echo it, else do nothing. Like, I mean, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, you can, this script is written in about 5 seconds, but you can do all kinds of things. You can make this script really good to where it literally just spits the flag out if you wanted to. But that's just another way to do it. You could brute force it in the way that I did, which is actually try every password, whereas you went around and recoded it to say, give me the password.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a different way of doing the same thing. But
Cool.
that's how a hacker would actually brute force, but they use tools to do it. They wouldn't actually write a script to do it, but they would try it typically with whatever service you're trying to access.
Yeah, my wife's an accountant. She had an ancient file that she didn't know the password to. I tried to crack it. And initially, I mean, what did I use? No, is it Metas? No. There was first of all, rip the hash with like Jack the Ripper.
John the Ripper. Yeah, John the Ripper is a really good tool. Yeah.
So I managed to get the hash out of the Excel file. And then there is like a brute forcing tool that like tries, I guess, I think if I say rocku.
Yeah, rocku.txt. Yeah, that's
rocku.txt.
A distro. Yeah. That's a good list.
So I brute forced like 100 million passwords, and it didn't work. Unfortunately, someone had a strong password, but like I tested it on other files that I encrypted on Word and Excel, and it did work with like weak passwords. So unfortunately, like my practical cybersecurity failed on that. I'm just trying to it wasn't Metasploit. I'm trying to remember like what
there's
tool I
Hydra, Hydra, there's John the Ripper's a big one. If you're just talking about password cracking tools,
Hashcat.
Yeah. Yep,
that's the one that I used.
Yep.
That's the one that I used.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good ones. The big difference between brute forcing and that's called a dictionary attack. Brute forcing is literally trying 00001, 00002. Like brute forcing will try every single thing in the world.
Yeah.
So
I tried the brute force attack. Like actually,
Hashcat that would
is
take
just
years.
Like, no. I got to 5 full characters. And then
really?
On the 6th one, it was just like, forget about it. I left the computer on for like 16 hours and it was still on the 6th character. So like, I think it takes exponentially longer for each additional character.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So where are we? We're on number 5.
Yes, we're on 5. I was just trying to show you guys a different way to do the same thing.
No, it's, I think eventually I'll learn the Bash because it, like effectively it's the language of the shell, right? So,
so one thing that you might struggle with Bash versus Python, or even Python written the way hackers write it typically, is we don't really care about code ethics, if you will, right? Like we don't care that coding looks nice and that someone will just write something real quick that they know will work for them, and then they move on because they may not need it anymore, or they might just write it in the thing. So like that script that I wrote, obviously I could have prettied it up and made it to where it gets rid of the invalid password and things like that, but it gave me what I wanted and it took me less time. So that's kind of the hacker mindset versus coding mindset, because obviously coders want things to be correct,
Yeah, like right now I'm really annoyed that these files are in the wrong folder. But I'm not going to move them. I'm going to try to be effective. So if I go into cat dictionary, okay, so this is like possible. This is a list of possible passwords. I don't even know how long it is. And the idea here is I want to open them. I want to feed these as a list. So that's going to take a little bit of data processing. And I'm wondering, like, this really does sound like something that could be piped, but we're going to attempt that after I do it in my Python way.
Yeah.
So if I go into my Python 3, and this was going to be, are they called level 5? All right, let's take a quick look at this. Oh, I meant to nano this. Never mind. Nano 5.py. Okay, so there seems to be no, I mean, it just checks the password. It's the same as all of them. So there is absolutely nothing there. feeding in the dictionary. So like I can maybe attempt, like if I try to do this, open, it's dictionary.txt, right? All PW equals to. So first you open it, then you read it, but sometimes you like people write it on different commands on the same line, but I don't know. I'm a teacher, so I like to do one thing on one line, and then it's easier for people to understand. So first we open the thing, then we read it. Then we want to split it. And this, when you're doing things on separate lines, you could split. If you just split, it technically works on space, but it also processes new line characters. So I think all PW dot split, I think this is basically going to create a list, but to be on the safe side, I'm just going to print before we do anything else, because the data might need a little bit more processing. So now if I Python 3 the level 5.py, it should just print out, yeah, beautiful, right? So this is 1,000 passwords and they're all in a giant list. So all I need to do is basically rewrite that same code. And this time, I mean, of course, it's the list that's, what? Oh, password is incorrect. Yeah, because it was asking me for the password. So nano level 5. Why doesn't it complete? Nano level 5.py. All right. So we've got all the passwords here, and now you just cycle through them, right? And this is boring. I'm writing the same bit of code 5 times over for password and all passwords. Space, space, if hash PW of this password is the same as correct. And there's no autocomplete either. Okay, if that's the case, we're just going to print 1, 2, 1, 2, print. And, oh, not nano, Python 3. I should have stopped myself from printing, but it's 9581. Okay.
There you go.
This is me avoiding learning real Linux skills via Python. So was there a way to do this? Essentially, like to use that text file and feed line by line via pipe into the script as input or something like that?
Give me a sec here. So I didn't try it. I saw your note just now when you actually looked at, but the best way I would say to do it. Well, first off, so personally, I would, after doing password crack 4, I would just copy and paste the passwords into my script and do the exact same thing.
Right.
But what you could do, or what we could try, is we could try to cat that the file that they gave us with the passwords into it and see if it'll take one.
Okay. One second.
The only reason I don't think it will allow us to pipe it is because it's doing some sort of de-encoding as well. So it's not going to take those without decoding it first, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So we would have to cat them, decode them, then supply them as a password.
I don't think there's, like, if I just type in cat dictionary, I guess cat dictionary.txt, right? Like it's going line by line, but I think one of these is an input, unless somehow it's attaching a new line character. And
are they encoded or no? I didn't even look at these. Or are these
Um,
just the,
When you say, yeah, I
what was the
don't know.
password? I guess. I don't remember.
9, I don't remember either, but now I've
Yeah, we
refined
can
my
run it
script.
again.
Level 5, 9581.
Yeah. So the problem is those are all FE characters, I believe, right?
Don't know.
So, oh,
How
we
would
don't
I
know.
check?
You can open the file, nano it, and just look at them. I mean, you could do other things. You could just grep it for 9581. You could cat
Ah,
or grep,
okay.
yeah, 9581 and just see if it's, well, you'll have to, so you have to cat the file first and then pipe it into a grep.
Okay. So if we
So,
cat
yep, that puts it into
dictionary
an STD out and then, yep,
txt,
yep,
and then
pipe and then 9581. See if it gives us anything. Oh, you didn't put grep in front of 9581.
because I'm always confused with these commands because grep
Uh-huh.
actually has the text you're searching, but then after that comes the file name, right? So,
Yeah.
but
So-
here, when you
so-
do the pipe, there is no file name afterwards.
So what you're doing here is that's because so cat is opening that dictionary and putting it into an STD or a string out file or a string out. Basically, it's going to print all that, right? And then the pipe says feed it into this, and then grep takes everything that you just fed into it and looks for what you're telling it, and then puts it and prints out only the line that it finds, if it can find it. Okay, so it
Okay.
is in there. Okay, so yeah, I thought they were encoded. That's why. Okay, so yeah, we could try to cat the dictionary and see if it'll do it that way. I don't know if it'll read them one by one or not, or if it'll take it that way. Otherwise, it would take a little bit more work. But there you go. I don't know why it printed out 9581 there in front of it, but
Oh, because I got it
oh,
to
'cause-
print
yeah, you
the
changed it.
right
Yeah, yeah.
password to every
I
time.
forgot you changed it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's leave this, you know.
So this is the only problem with trying to do it the way just command line is you would have to create that bash script because you could do this exact command, but you have to create a for loop to do every single one of them. That's the only thing you need. You need that for loop in there.
Basically, you're either wrangling some Python or doing some bash.
Yeah. Yeah. You just
doing
have
it-
to, I mean, you could do it in any language that the script's obviously written in Python, so you have to use Python to interpret it, but to run it. But yeah, you could do different languages to try and crack it. But yeah, the main thing is you have to have a for loop in there.
Cool, cool, cool. Okay, let's move on. We got runme.py. Do I remember you? Runme, what? Really? It's as if like, it's called runme.py.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it's called.
And okay, all categories. Well, first of all, this is in general skills. And I know
Let's see
roughly
if I can find it.
challenge connection any. And
Yeah,
no
I
way.
found it.
Okay. Run. Yes.
There it is.
Here it is. Runme.py. Download the script. Download the runme.py script. Straightforward, nothing to discuss here. Those are my notes for this. So
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, copy link address, wget, and run it. And Python 3. I really should get out of this folder, but it doesn't matter. Python 3 run. Run sanity run. That's funny.
Not sure if that's just a flag to show you how to run a Python script.
The way that they've put it in the order comes after you've had to run like 10 Python scripts.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused by.
So our next challenge is Serpentine. Find the flag in the Python script.
Oh yeah, this one was.
Okay, sounds interesting. Wget. Okay, and let's have a look at that Python script, serpentine.py. Yeah, it's like a nice little display here. So I'm guessing it's going to run main. It's going to print the little flag. Then it gives you a menu. And then you're choosing between A, B, and C. And then print encouragement. Nice. Okay. So there's going to be like special functions for print encouragement. So B, like there is, B says like I must have misplaced the print flag function, and C exits. So, oh, there is a print flag function right here. Okay. So I think I'm just going to exit it just to demonstrate how it works. But I think that you basically just have to add the print flag function to the print flag option, Python 3. But let's just have a look. So you get this pretty snake, and then you can print encouragement. Look how far you've come. You can do it. Keep it up. And if you want to print flag, it says I must have misplaced the flag. And you can press C for quit. And then we can edit that with nano. And I'm pretty sure we just copy the print flag function instead of the I must have misplaced.
Instead of the print, yep. Yeah, I actually just didn't realize till just now that it tells you I must have misplaced the print flag function. I just noticed right away that it didn't have the print flag. I didn't read it.
I think the function looks like that. We'll find out. And option B. There it is.
There you go. Yeah, that one pretty easy.
Okay, the next one, based. This is a speed test, and yeah, speed tests are not my forte. So let's see how we do. I've preloaded like the CyberChef here with some magic, with the magic function. Actually, I'll get rid of it and I'll reload it in a second.
Just hit that trash can up or that. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so based. So we're going to call up that netcat, and that netcat is going to give us some challenges. Control C, Control V, boom. And now I got to get that as a word. I mean, why don't I just go straight into CyberChef, drag in magic, paste the input, table. Wow.
Yep.
Can you see what was the encoding? Does it actually say binary to the recipe?
Yeah, it says from binary. So from binary to probably ASCII.
Right.
And then space is the delimiter that they used.
Nice. Oven. Wow. This is like so far so good on the magic.
We'll see if it gets the X. There it is.
Yes.
Got it.
And what was this? What was this recipe?
From
hex. Base. Okay. Learning about converting values. Well, yep. You know, on our last video, CyberChef didn't exactly come through with flying colors, but on this one, it really, yeah, all you need is CyberChef.
Yeah, it's its own. You can get really good at it if you mess with it enough. Because sometimes you'll get multiple encoded things, and you can just hit recipe, and boom, it'll decode the whole thing for you, which is really nice.
Cool. So we got 4 left for today, and there is, including I think the best one, and including the 2 what we both think probably are the worst ones. So yeah, let's get into it. So the 13th one is called plumbing.
Yeah, this one I'll I saw the way that you did it, and I'll let you do it, and then I'll show you basically the same exact way you did it, just save you a step.
Okay. So sometimes versus out you can find connecting to this program. I mean, I'm just thinking this is a netcat. And oh la la. Okay. So you run this netcat thing, and somewhere out there, there's a flag, but it's probably buried in the output.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I did because I think I could do it. Sorry, I think I could do it with a pipe, but I'm still not comfortable with pipes yet. So I'll show you what I did. So we just, I would run that, and then I would take the output and put it in maybe like out.txt. Done. And if I list, is there out.txt? Does it exist?
Yep.
So now like all the outputs are in the out.txt, and then maybe I can grep for Pico in out.txt. And there's my flag.
There you go. Yeah, so exactly what you said. You don't have to save the file. You can just do the netcat the same way you did before.
Give me a second. So now that takes all of the things. And if I feed that into grep, now instead of specifying the file, I can just grep Pico, right?
Yeah, except for you're on the grep command right now. You're not on the netcat command, but yep.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yep, that's exactly it though. You have the perfect idea.
So that instead of blah, 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 blah. So this is the netcat, and then I grep Pico. And this is, I guess, because I was so used to when using grep that there is grep word file that like, but the file, but I guess grep is flexible enough to.
So yeah, so what happens when you pipe is it puts whatever the output of whatever previous command is into an std out, and then the std in is what grep's taking it in almost as if you're feeding it a file, even though you're not. It's taking the output of the contents and feeding it into whatever the next command is. That's what a pipe does, is it takes the output of one command and feeds it into the next.
And there you go. It done better and easier and more pro. And I like how like it highlights in red. Cool. Okay, music. All right. Control C. Get me out of here. Now, let's look at. Now I've got a confession to make. Out of everything, all of those challenges, this was the only one that I gave up in less than half an hour. I think I only looked at one walkthrough before this, but I gave everything a crack. This is just like made me scratch my head.
Yeah.
So much. I went down like 3-4 dead ends before getting. Yeah, I just had to look this one up. So let's just let's wget this.
Yeah, this is a weird one.
Wget. Really? I thought I copied this. Copy link address. Wget B. All right. So if I cat, is it song?
It's lyrics. Yep.
Okay. My song, something, put Pico into this, knock down, put this into CTF, shout CTF. My lyric is nothing. Put my song with this into my lyric.
Yeah. So I'll be honest, the way I found this is kind of cheating. It's the same way, like you said, you looked it up. I didn't look it up. This is my hacker research mind going. The second I got the lyrics, I was like, this has to be something. So I Googled the lyrics and I got that it told me the language that's written in basically, because I saw the little comments or whatever. But
Right.
so yeah, that would be the first thing I do if I find something that I don't know, a language or something like that. I didn't even realize this was a language, if I'm being honest.
Yep. So yeah, it's a language called Rockstar, and like shout, build, put are commands in this language.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember, like in the prep for this is the only one I didn't actually revise because I was like, oh. All right, but we're gonna do what you did actually. I'm just going to paste this into Google and CTFs, music,
Yep, you can see there's write-ups and all that
right
there.
upstate.
But
There, Rockstar language, I think Rockstar language translator is how I eventually.
yep, and I'm pretty sure that's the only. I don't know anyone that runs this language interpreter on any server or anything like that. So I don't know that you'd ever run into this in the wild.
So this is basically a research test.
I
If
think you might
you,
have missed a word at the bottom. We'll see if you did. I think there's a shout at the bottom.
oh, Pico, shout it.
See, it's at the right before there's another shout there at the end.
All right. Oh, okay. I see. I
Yeah,
see.
at the end of the line. Yep.
Shout Pico. Wow. Okay. And that is shout.
Pico. Yep.
And the output is numbers on the 255. So, but there are so many 114s that, like, I don't know. Let's go into Magic Cyber Chef. Guys, in case you're here for the first time, we've been using Cyber Chef with this magic function, and then we paste something.
And there it is.
Rock and roller. Okay. Yep. I think that's going to be our flag. And the second one, yeah, the second one, I want to be a rock star, like kind of gives it away. So I think the next one's going to have lyrics as well. So if I go clear.
Yeah, that's a big thing with especially with Pico, but with pretty much all CTFs around the board on servers and things that or websites that you're going into, they almost all kind of give a hint. When you get to the harder ones, they don't, but even medium level ones usually will give you the name's usually the big hint.
Yeah, I mean, the name is the hint, right? This one has no hint, but it's literally saying Rockstar,
Yeah.
and it's the Rockstar language. And then if we now lyrics, oh, there's two lyrics. .txt dot
It's going to be the .1 is the one you just downloaded.
Okay.
So earlier I heard you asking why it wasn't autocomplete. So see, it autocompletes up to what it knows, and then it needs you to decipher whether it's the one or the regular.
Yeah. Well, no, I was in specific. I was mostly complaining that there's no autocomplete in the Nano Python.
Oh
editor.
yeah.
So like if I'm typing in like a variable name, it should be able to press tab and.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Where is it? Rockstar. Here we go. And I remember this was like when I pasted this thing, it was missing.
Yeah, it's missing the input. I can't tell. It says remove these lines. Oh, you need to remove the whole if statement. I apologize. So it's listen to the music. Where it said that we took out the two, but it says listen to the music all the way down to. I'm trying to see what you've taken out, what you haven't. If the rhythm without music is nothing. So from listen to the music to if the rhythm without music is nothing, that's the whole if statement. And then we'll have to take out, listen to the music all the way to if the rhythm without the music is nothing. And then from there, then you'll have to take out the else whisper. That ain't it, chief. Because that's the else. We'll see if that works. That didn't work either. Maybe that's that. There we go. So now we take those and convert them to ASCII. Yeah, this is one I was messing with, and I thought I don't really want to learn the learn Rockstar language today. Yeah, so it's Bon Jovi.
Yeah, it's see, I told you, like, I got actually Bon Jovi, and I'm sure it's Bon Jovi.
It's Bon Jovi, yeah.
Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
All right. PicoCTF.
Yeah, so basically, if you analyze the language long enough, you'll find that what the for statements are and the if else and all that, but that's what they wanted you to do, which is a lot to expect for a language that you're never going to use again.
Yeah. I think, dear PicoCTF creators, come on. Besides, if it's getting updated and changed, this is the only thing is, like, I had some classes on Discord bots, and the Discord API like kept changing, like literally under my feet. And so like at one stage, what we started one week didn't work the next week.
Yep. That's what it is here. Because I looked at the ways that some of the other people did it in the past, and those don't work anymore because it says they've changed the way Rockstar language works, which I can, so I did look at, oh no, we've got one more left. That's the one I was thinking of. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad we're finishing with a fun one.
Yeah. This one I don't understand.
Really?
Why they threw this in here. No, this one. I'm talking about the Rockstar one. The Rockstar one.
Okay. I've got a confession to make. The second I saw this, I knew what to do.
See, I did not. Not that I completely understand it, but I did not instantly, my head didn't go there.
Okay. I'll tell you why. There's an episode of Darknet Dairies called Manfred.
Yeah. I haven't watched that one, but I watched Darknet Dairies.
They're basically, they interviewed this guy. I mean, and what Manfred did was that this was sort of in the 2000s, was re-engineered clients for online games. And the main feature he used was integer overflow. So like he would try to buy negative numbers of stuff. So he would like modify the packets he's sending out. And sometimes, like, when you're taking a minus, it turns it into plus. He would engineer transactions that basically use, like in some programs, when the integer goes over the limit in the programming language it's written to, it goes back to a negative number. And so like he tried to engineer the minus situation where he would get, like infinite money, infinite game money. And even the errors that I initially got, because he's like, it's pretty funny. Like sometimes you end up having a negative balance of billions of coins. And that's exactly what happened to me first. Like my first attempts were negative balances. So I'm like, thanks to a podcast, I was able to know where I'm heading with this. So let me just show it to the viewers.
I caught on pretty quick once I read the code for it. But so go ahead.
Funnily enough, I didn't even I think I looked at the source for a second just to see which language.
See, that's where we differ. I analyzed the source. That's how I found it.
Right. Okay, you're going to show me your way, but this is basically the thing. So you want to buy a flag, and the 1337 flag is what you want, but there is, we're going to want to buy one, but you can't buy one. It costs too much. Account balances, you've got $1,100, and that thing costs $10,000. Now you can buy the definitely not a flag, and you could buy one of them. And now your account balance is 200. So you're down. So I guess one thing that we could try, like buy flags, I can try buy this one, desired quantity minus 10. Like, is this actually, that's not working. So you can't buy -10 because technically, like if they take, if they multiply the number of the things you want by the price and then minus the whole thing, a minus might result in a plus. So you really need to have some impossibly high number that overflows into a negative. And if I control D and we can open the source, wget copy link address.
And they give you a huge hint here. The 2's complement is what kind of gave it away to me as well.
Oh, I didn't even know what that means.
Yeah, it's a binary mathematical thing. I can explain it here when you're done.
Okay, so when I got it, I already noticed that it's store.c, right? So then I Googled integer overflow in C, and that's how I got there. But I would love to know where within the file you got your clues.
Yeah, so well, the obvious clue was, let's see, so if you're scrolling down, obviously just looking at it, because I looked at the code before I ran it, just because I wanted to see what they were looking at. But the obvious clue, I'm looking for the function where they show when you click buy flags here.
Okay, if menu is 2, buy flags, right?
Yep, so scroll down. Knock off flags. Yeah, so yeah, so right there, I just saw it. I know I did.
All right, I think this is the accounting, right? Account balance minus total cost.
That's
right?
the account balance, but I'm looking for, let me see, I wrote it down here because I knew. So they store the total cost. Where's the total cost? Oh, there it is.
Cost is
yeah, it's in
9.
green. That's why I didn't see it. So it's stored as an integer, right?
Yeah.
So when it's stored as that integer, that tells me that basically it's assigned an integer is what it's called. But basically what that means is, basically like you said, with the integer overflow, you can flip it because it's going to take the first binary bit and decide whether it's negative or positive. So all you're trying to do is get that first binary bit to become negative. So so that it's the same thing, but it's called 2's complement is the mathematical equation of, you can take specific numbers. So like this one, for instance, our specific number, I can't remember, but so the specific number that we are looking at here is the one I did was 2, right? So 2 in binary is positive, but if you change it to 3, it becomes negative binarily because the first bit will be the opposite. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but basically,
makes no sense. But
yeah. So basically, the 2 is in binary, right? But if you add one binary bit to it, it flips it because the first integer will basically become the opposite. So
go
here, I'll show
0,
you.
1 to 1,
So
0, 0.
I'll show you here. I pulled up the what 2's complement is to try and explain it, because it's very difficult to explain if you've never worked with it, because it's mathematical and I'm not a math expert by any means. So you'll understand it way better.
All right.
But I'll show you.
If you want to share screen, I can stop sharing.
Sharing here. Okay. So here's how it works. So for instance, like here. So let's see. So like you said, you're looking for integer overflow. So if you make this so large, it'll start coming back around basically, right?
Yep.
So you're trying, so you notice here, all these bits start with 0. Those are all positive. But if you can if you can get it to start with a 1, they become negative numbers. Even though they're still positive, they're being read as negative numbers because the sign integer uses the first bit in coding to see if it's negative or positive. So if you can change that, you can then, and like you said, we need a number large enough that will then integer overflow. And then when it does that, it'll start adding value to our bank account here in the fake store. So it's called the 2's complement, but you can see here the way it works.
Stuffy, you know what? Like, I don't know if there's a game, but surely like this is going to be, because at school I run this coding club, and it's just, it's, you know, every once in a while I go to get little kids, you know, have you seen the program called Scratch?
Yeah, yeah.
So they play video games that are on because it's the only thing not blocked by the school, right?
Yeah.
So they literally go to Scratch to play video games.
Yeah.
And they come to me to hack the games. So like I can read complicated enough Scratch code and just like show them, okay, change the number here and you got superpowers.
Yeah, yeah.
And to them, that's the coolest thing ever. Like I'm just trying to think if there's a commonly played game where you could use integer overflow. I mean, probably Minecraft is going to be way too secure for something like that.
So
and Roblox.
This used to be actually really common. Not really common, but common enough in. So cybersecurity is obviously a newer thing in the IT industry. Actually, it's been around for maybe 10 years, you know. Well, before this, like people would do this for like eBay, let's just say. eBay is a bad example, but stores that aren't as secure, they would find stores that are poorly written and they would change, let's say I'm buying one item, right? Well, I can change that and get it to, you know, go to a negative number and I get refunded money. So things like that used to be very common. Nowadays, there's so much input validation that it's not as common anymore. But like you said, there's probably some poorly written video games out there for sure that have something you can do to them. Now, I don't know if they'll be played online, but
yeah, let me know if you ever find one, because that would be a video that, you know,
that'd be awesome.
making.
Yeah.
All right,
really cool.
Can I grab the screen back? Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
Screen. Wait, is this?
But yeah, you're way better at math than me. So for me to explain math is very difficult. It's just some things like this, I understand in my head, but I don't understand it mathematically. I only understand it if I can see it.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you I'll tell you exactly what I did here. I found, because I looked at it C, I already knew it was integer overflow, and I went C, integer maximum value, right? And I got this. Now I should have like integer overflow, C integer overflow limit. So 64 bits. I don't, this sort of gave me, anyway, I basically took this number and I said, okay, we'll divide that by 900 because that's the cost of the cheap flag, right? Yep. And I got this many, 0.9, right? So I figured if I make that 3, that will actually just hit the integer limit, right? Yep. And that sort of worked. So let me just get into the store.
Yeah, and see, I would have done the exact same thing, actually, the exact same path you took, except for I read the 2's complement in there and on the hint. So that is the path I took rather than this one, this is the path that if I would have looked at it and said integer overflow instantly, I would have thought about it.
So yeah, I just make that 93 and I just overflow it.
Yep.
But somehow
you get negative. Yeah.
At that point, I knew I was in the right direction, but I didn't quite understand, like looking at the thing, like how did I get a negative balance? I guess if I buy flags again and I do the, if I choose 1 and then how did I copy that balance? 2, 3, 8, 6, 0, 9, 3. Now, funnily enough, if I added 1, in theory, that should have just knocked it over, but it didn't. If I add 2 for whatever reason, now my current balance is 996. And so like, okay, I'll buy flags. And this time, instead of buying like 1 more, I'll just buy like 3 more or something. 2, 3, 8, 6, 0, 9, 2. Okay, we'll change 2 to 5. All right, now we got infinite money and we can buy the flag we want. But Yeah,
there you
this
go.
was, like I said, this is a lot of fun. I understand
Yeah.
how it works in principle, but the calculation, I'm a little frustrated because when I just did the overflow by a bit, that should have made it negative.
Yeah.
I needed to overflow a bit more than that, which I don't understand. Like in theory, changing that from 9.2.9 to 9.3
Should have changed that bit.
should change it, but it actually is 4. So I don't know, but I'm not really going to invest.
Yeah, I can tell you just based on I don't know this for sure. So, but this is my guess is changing that one bit. So the way sign integers work is it looks at the first bit,
Right.
right? So you're basically by overflowing, you're changing that bit 1 over, right?
Yeah.
So my guess is the bit that becomes first then is a 0, not a, or a 1, I'm sorry, not a 0, or the vice versa, the 0, not a 1. So it's taking it away rather than adding it. Whereas if you move it 2 spaces, you're getting that 1 in place, which is what we're looking for. That's my guess. I haven't investigated any time into that.
Yeah, I mean, I might, I'm not fresh up on my seed. Like, just one question before, I guess before we wrap up. How useful is C? Because I used to be okay at it, but I haven't done it in too long.
I would say it's useful to read. I wouldn't say you're going to write it very often, at least not in cybersecurity. Python's a huge one in cybersecurity. You have a huge leg up because a lot of hacking tools are written in Python. And a lot of people write their own hacking tools in Python because Linux comes with Python.
Okay.
So a lot of servers have Python on it. So for instance, if I write like linpeas is a big hacking tool. It's not written in Python, but the winpeas and linpeas are good tools where if you can get them onto the system that you're hacking, you can run it and it'll do vulnerability checks for you galore. So if I can get that on your system, I will find a way to get root access, right? Those type of tools, I could write my own tools in Python, get them on a server, and then boom, I can use my own tools on your server because Python is on there.
Super. I think that like there is, if you're a regular Python user, like again, I think this is future content. I'm going to try to sort of assemble the key bits you need to learn to transfer it to Linux. Because, for example, at least at the level that I teach, which can get reasonably high, but like, my students don't use the terminal. So I'm not used to like writing Python code that takes parameters from the terminal, that accesses other files from the terminal, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you just got to learn how to include both files and text inputs as parameters to your functions when they're called from the terminal. And I think at that point, you're most of the way there. I think you're going to need to get familiar with binary and hex encoding in Python and sort of Python inputs, outputs, so that you can understand something like that XOR.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think after I learned those, we might talk a little bit about maybe making a video on Python for cybersecurity, because
that'd be a huge video, because so there's 2 types of hackers, I guess, if you will, as far as Python, right? Because every hacker has to know some Python. I'm just going to say they have to know something if they're going to be decent, right? So there's the hackers that actually studied Python, such as yourself, where they actually know Python, and that's a huge asset. And then there's hackers like me who learned Python through hacking, and it's like, I don't know proper Python, right? So I could go to you and say, hey, here's what I want to do, and you could knock it out. Whereas I would be throwing something together that, may break, like you said, a week later if something changes. Whereas you have an actual functioning program that then can be used in many facets, whereas mine has a specific function and that's it.
But the thing that I'm interested in really is to make a video for people that are comfortable with Python, right? To just be able to transfer their skills to the Linux terminal. I mean, I'm sure that like there are gigantic Python libraries that are associated with cybersecurity that are going to look like Chinese to me, because like cybersecurity is an ocean of knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Python is like, I mean, it's not knowledge itself. It's basically means to access, you know, to access data and maybe play around with it. But I think that like just the start transition from an IDE like PyCharm into actually, you know, doing stuff in the Linux terminal is an interesting one.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Guys, we are going to stop it here. I don't actually know how long this was, but we smashed it out in one go, which was awesome. Thank you so much for watching.
Absolutely.
All the links are below, as well as Stuffy's Patreon, which has just started. By all means, check that out. I have myself, so I look forward to more content from him.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.